Hello and welcome to my channel. It's Sharon here from Be Divine Vintage. This past day or so I've been preparing my papers for my next journal, which I decided was going to be two journals, two Isabel journals, because I had two of these rather exquisite antique French stationery wallets. They would have held blotting paper in the past so that you could write letters, etc., and then blot them, because you would write, of course, with real ink in the beautiful copper plate writing. So I'm using the Isabel and the Isabel 2 from Paper Cameo, and the papers are so absolutely stunning that it's been such a difficult choice to make of which order I was going to put my papers. Now I've printed on A4, but you can see that my stationery folders my antique stationery folders are bigger than folded A4, which is obviously A5. So I didn't want to cut down the stationery folders, obviously. So I decided it would be fun to use different sizes of papers. So I've kept some at A4 and folded them, as you can see here. Some of them have actually extended by stitching papers together, vertically together and horizontally, to make different size pages, taller pages, shorter pages, wider pages, narrower pages, and you'll see all that coming together. That actually handmade paper that you'll see there, I do actually make bigger by fastening two pieces of the paper together around some baking parchment, and you'll see that as we go along. Here's a glassine bag that I decorated, and it was a large glassine bag. So I've got one larger page and then the little page at the back of it, which I'll probably do an add-in or a flip-in. So here I am folding some more of the papers. I've actually printed the majority on eco-dyed papers. I've used red cabbage, which is my favourite paper to dye. And yes, it did smell at first of cabbage. However, by leaving the paper out to air, the red cabbage smell has disappeared, it's good. I've also used coffee, tea and avocado. And with the avocado, I've got different shades of pink. I used pizza trays, various oven trays, baking trays, and also cooling racks on which to dry my paper off in the oven, my eco-dyed paper in the oven. And because I use these trays regularly, they are ones that I keep in my craft room, not that I use for baking and cooking with. There are little areas of rust on them, and that just adds extra interest to my pages. I think that is a green tea dyed one that you can see there now with the green dots on, and that's done on a pizza tray. You can see at the edge the round shape of the pizza tray, but doesn't it give such a beautiful image there? I'm really happy and excited with these papers. That's some handmade paper there that is just printed on exquisitely. And there you can see where I've dried on a baking tray in the oven, well, a cooling tray rack in the oven, and I've actually stitched those pages together and folded them up there to make the pockets at the bottom. And it's also given me the opportunity to extend my pages taller to match the size of my journals. I love stitching on paper, and I was actually reading that paper is now being classified as a textile. I read that on Google. So I'm in a textile group, and sometimes I get laughed at a little bit for stitching paper and being told it's not textile really. Well, actually it is now, because it has been It has been certified as part of the a group of textiles. Look at that amazing paper from the Paper Cameo. They're absolutely gorgeous. Like I say, it's Isabel and Isabel too. Oh, I also printed on some tracing papers too, so I've got some narrow papers. Those two papers were of a similar colour. So as you can see there, I stitched them together and folded up at the bottom to make another pocket at the bottom. You can just see the stitching across. And there I'm folding to actually see which way I want my pocket to go. I think I did decide on that way. But as I've not sort of finalised anything, I can turn my pockets over. The only thing I have finalised are the signatures. So there's going to be 3 signatures in each with 6 papers. There will be envelopes and flip-ins and all sorts added to the journaling pages. So as you can see, it does take quite a while to plan and get your papers together, and I keep swapping and changing. Look at that effect there from using a rusty baking tray. What I'm going to do, where you can see the top or the bottom may be shorter than the larger journaling pages I've made, I will extend those by adding lace and ruffles, etc. So my next job will be adding all my lace and ruffles and stitching around the edge of every sheet of paper. As I just said, it's taken me probably about 4 hours or so to actually decide the order of the papers that I wanted. So that just shows the length of time that can go into creating a journal, just from the time sorting out your papers and then the length of time that's taken afterwards with all your stitching and developing and enhancing your journal. I do love that pale blue there, that sort of duck egg blue in the vibrancy of the pink roses. And then you will have noticed some of the other papers within, there we go, there's one, within the kit are just so vibrant as well, and they just all go together so beautifully. You'll see me stroking the papers because I do actually love to feel the texture of the papers. It gives me pleasure and joy to do that, and it also pours my loving feelings into every single journal that I make. The papers that I've eco-dyed some are linen papers, modern linen papers, but the majority are vintage papers that I use to print on, which takes me hours and hours to dye and then print. The printing probably took me a day and a half at least. So I've probably spent about a day and a half, three days or so, maybe a bit longer just to get to this point. So when you print on vintage papers, I just use an inkjet printer. Quite often they get jammed, so I have paper jams all the time. So I never invest in expensive printers. I buy sort of mid-range, and I can normally get a couple of years out of it, which I'm quite happy with. There's the stitch paper again, and I'm off again preparing more pages, my signatures. I just love all the different colours and textures. That I think is beautiful. I'd love a whole room decorated in that paper, I think. Some of these papers from the Paper Cameo, the Isabel range, do actually look like they could be wallpapers. I think you need to design a wallpaper range just for me. That one there, you keep getting glimpses of it. That's one of my most favourite red cabbage dyed pages. I don't know how that happened. I think it was a complete and utter fluke, and I'll probably never be able to do it again. But it's just beautiful, tucking out of the corner of there. They look like they've come from castle, don't they, those? Like a French chateau. Did you ever watch Escape? Is it Escape to the Chateau? No, Escape to the Country? The Dick and Angel series, anyway, where they're renovating the castle and in the Loire Valley. And they do a whole turret with wallpapers, designs that they found within the castle. And a lot of these remind me of those fabulous, fabulous wallpapers. Isn't that a beautiful signature? Absolutely stunning. I did change that that piece there. I did change that because it's just too thin. That's where I sandwiched it with some 2 pieces over some baking paper. The baking paper that I used is baking paper that I've used to protect my table in the past. So it's quite sort of extra crunchy, might have bits of paint and things on it as well. So always save your pieces of paper. Always save them. Let's see what moving. This one keeps showing, doesn't it? I keep moving it around. And backwards and forwards, taking signatures apart, putting them back together again, moving papers around, keep changing my mind all the time until I feel happy with the middle of that signatures, in and out and in and out. It's like a fiddler's elbow. It just keeps coming in and out. But I did decide to keep it in there, and I'm happy that I made that decision. There we go. You can see the paper there where I've sandwiched the baking parchment in between. Just telling my husband to be quiet there. I've asked him not to speak so he comes in rattling keys. Men. Right, there we go. That's a lovely dark lines there from the rust on the cooling rack. I even printed on torn paper. I think you just saw the corner of it there. There it is. Because it still looks very effective. Like I've said, the old wallpaper look, so it can be torn. And before I finish the journal, I'll probably tear some more pages too. Here's where I just couldn't decide on this last signature. I was backwards and forwards and umming and ahhing and swapping around. I didn't want to print more papers because I had enough papers, but I just couldn't get this one exactly how I liked it. So there's that piece that I said is in and out like a fiddler's elbow. You'll see it. Oh, no, see, I ended up with 2 pieces the same there. So that goes back to where I originally put it. It keeps swapping around. I'm happy now. I've got all my pieces together exactly as I do like them. I'm really happy with them. I can sleep peacefully tonight. I'm actually quite excited to start stitching all my lacing. But tomorrow I'm going to a local charity shop and who do occasionally get antique and vintage laces in. So although I've got a good selection myself, never hurts to have a little bit more, does it? So tomorrow I'm going on the hunt for laces. If I remember, I'll try to do a video from the shop. Then you can see how exciting this shop is for any crafter. Right, here I am. These are my 2 stationery books, and here's my completed. She says completed. Nope, change of mind. So almost completed signatures. Almost completed. All I can say is just trust your eye. Keep checking. Keep turning your papers backwards and forwards and trust what you feel is the right way to do it. So here, yeah, I put that on the front. I swapped the front over there. I'm happy with that, and I clip them together. So now I'll get all my 6 signatures out. Like I said, there's 3 for each journal. So I decide which 3 I want to go together. So that's those 3, and then these 3, and I put them then in the order that I want them to go in each journal. And I use this process virtually for all of my journals. I'm just having a quick flick through that one. Yeah, it was a little bit the incorrect size. A little bit of a perfectionist. I just, get it right at this stage. Fail to plan to fail. So just keep checking and checking till you're happy. And there we go. Put them in the order. And in a moment I'll get my pencil and I will label them up 1, 2 and 3. So I know which is which signature. Go and have another little change around there and put the lady on the front, because I wanted Isabel on the front of each of these journals. So page 1, 2, signature 1, 2 and 3, Isabel on the front of that one, and then 1, 2 and 3, put Isabel on the front of that one. So I hope you've enjoyed. See you soon.